And this, what I'm going to show you now, really, it was Tammy, an idea of Tammy's at the last meeting that just prompted me to look at this in more detail. And I've got to be honest with you, I was surprised by the results, and it was to analyse the reasons why we've been deselected. And then we started measuring that, and I'll share with you, if you're interested, some graphs that we're now keeping. If you look at the reasons why we were deselected on the 11 projects, 73% of them were because we didn't have buildings. Now what does that tell you? Now we've always said the road's a problem, and it is. You know, of the 7 projects that we've currently got that are live, we'll probably get deselected on a couple of them at least because of the road. But having said that, it would still be a small fraction of the building issue. We have a building issue. You know, we've got some land, we need buildings because that's what the data's telling us. And you know, I think that as we develop our plans for the future and as we work with the county and the city, that is the kind of data that we're going to be pushing down their throats, because right now, you know, it is very difficult, and I think I shared this with you before, trying to sell our community. We've got a wonderful community, and I know people got different views on that. I personally live here because if there's a better place, I haven't found it yet. So for all our problems, this is still a wonderful place to live. And if you, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. You know, the problem is that the people that are selecting sites tend to be financial analysts. The quality of life issues that I think we are very strong in, the river, the state park, the historic community, very often don't get considered. You know, the people, the financial analysts, they aren't interested in that, they're interested in numbers. And if there's other counties giving 7 million in grants, it is very, very difficult to compete with them. And giving them facilities.
So I just don't see how you could possibly discuss a spec building without knowing what type of business is going to use it. I know you mentioned in the future expandable, but how many square feet? What's the ratio of office to factory? What's the loading on the floor? As an example, Clifty Engineering, when they put a very heavy machine in, they had to cut a big section of the floor out and how much dock space. The ceiling height varies whether it's manufacturing or warehouse, from 10 feet to 25 feet at HVAC, depending on how many people. Some require clean room. As a very clear example, when they were speaking with my Aunt Boykin, first she mentioned solar panels, and then power supplies, and then batteries, and then something else. Each one of those 4 would require a totally different building, totally different ceiling heights, totally different sewer, wastewater treatment before it goes into the sewer. If it's a distribution only, it doesn't require much office space. If it's Arvin Sango, they're a subcontractor. They don't do retail sales. So how can you talk about a spec building until you know what type of business is going to use it?
I totally understand the question.
Pardon 1 second. 8 years ago, I think it was Tipton County built a spec building. 8 years ago, they just got a client for it.
Okay. Well, I think going back to the issue that you highlighted there, I think, yes, everything you said there is true, that there are different reasons for different kinds of businesses. I think the skill is being as flexible as you possibly can in your building design and trying to cover 80% of the possibilities by doing it in a certain way, whether that's modular or whatever. And I don't claim to be an expert in that, but you know, and saying, okay, we can't create a building that does everything for everybody, and I think that's the point you're making, and that's true. But we might be able to create modular buildings that do, you know, that would accommodate 80% of the market. And if that's the case, then let's target that.